Hi, my name is Larry Bodtke, and we're here on one of our family's farms in Grand Junction, Michigan. Our family's been in business since 1969 when my parents first started our farm, and then it passed along to the second generation, which three of us were actively involved, my brother and my sister and I, and now we've got four people from the third generation of our family that are actively involved in our farm. We're here in a field of a variety that we call Aurora. We've got about 30 different varieties here on our farm. There's hundreds of varieties in the nation. This is a late season fresh variety that we've harvested twice already, and we'll probably harvest them 2 more times. Blueberries, along with cranberries and Concord grapes, are 3 fruits that are native to the United States, and blueberries are a wetland plant, and so we need to keep plenty of moisture to them. We have overhead irrigation in this field. Again, about 50% of our acreage is harvested by hand and 50% by mechanical harvesters, and a lot of that depends on what variety it is and whether we've targeted it for the fresh market that you'll find in your grocery stores, or if it's something that goes to the processed market where you might find berries in a pie or Pop-Tarts, yogurt, smoothies, different things like that. And so we'll harvest this field again here in just a day or two, and this field will be hand harvested. And what we look for in fresh blueberries is a bigger size and what we call the bloom on a berry, the nice powdery blue look to them. And with a processed variety, that's not quite as important, because a lot of times in the processed variety you don't even really see the berry. Fresh berries and processed berries are all of equal health to you. Blueberries are high in antioxidants, and they are very good for your health. We enjoy being in the blueberry business and being out in nature. I have one of the best jobs on the farm. As the harvest manager, I get to go out to the fields and check the berries and see if they're ready for picking and have the right amount of ripeness and are ready to go. So,
are these ready?
These are ready. I certainly enjoy that part of the job. There's a lot of things that go into growing blueberries. These bushes that we're standing by here are about 10 years old, and we've got some bushes on our farms that are as much as maybe 80 years old. Now, everything that you see above the ground, even on those 80-year-old bushes, are probably not more than 10 or 12 years old, because we go in and prune bushes every year, and so that sparks new growth from the cut of the old cane. We take an old cane out and a new cane will sprout up from there, and so our premium production comes off of canes anywhere between 7 and 10 years old. And so even on, like I say, on those old bushes, everything that you see there is probably only 8 to 10 to 12 years old. The blueberries grow in acidic soil. We like a pH between 4.8 and 5.2. You know, most of your other grain crops will grow in 6.5 or 7 pH soils. So blueberries like an acidic soil. They like to have moisture, but they don't like to have their roots in wet soils all the time. They need to dry out a little bit, and then we put more water on. And takes a lot of different things to manage a blueberry crop. Besides harvesting, we go clear back to the beginning. If we want to plant a new field, we have to order from a nursery probably about 18 months in advance. We have to let them know how many plants that we need and what variety, and then we'll prepare the field for planting. Once we get the plants, we generally plant in the fall because that's when the soils are dry enough to get into. A lot of times in the spring it'll be too wet, but we'll go into the field and mound up a ridge with a machine and plant about 1,500 bushes per acre. So these are planted here on about a 3.5 by 10 spacing, so you get them planted, and then you have to nurse them along for about 3 to 5 years before you even start to get a crop off of them. And they don't really develop into full production until they get into about the 7th or 8th year. So if you are interested in planting your own blueberries, it's a long-term investment. It's a long-term thing to wait out the time it takes when you'll actually be able to enjoy them.
How would this field look different in the spring? How much different would it look?
So in the spring, we have, all the leaves are gone and you just have the wood. And then when spring comes along and temperatures get warm enough, the leaf buds will start to pop out. And then also you have blossoms, and you have every berry was a blossom at one time. And all the blossoms of a blueberry need to be pollinated by some type of insect. We mostly use honeybees that we actually rent from beekeepers, and they bring in hives of thousands of bees. So they stay in the field. The bloom will stay there for about 4 to 6 weeks, and the bees stay there and they visit the flowers and transfer the pollen from one flower to another, and that's what helps blueberries get bigger and produce a better crop. Once the bees are done doing their work with the blossoms, the blossom falls off, and you'll start with a very little green berry, and it sizes up over the course of the next 8 to 10 weeks, and pretty soon it starts to turn pink and then blue, and then I come out and taste them and make sure they're ready to go.
How has this year's crop been?
We've had a nice crop this year. I wouldn't call it a bumper crop, but it's been a good crop. The winters of 2013 and 14, if you remember, were very cold here in Michigan, and that hurt our crops and even some of our bushes. And the bushes have recovered from that now, and we've had a very nice crop this summer. There's been an abundant supply of blueberries here, particularly in the state of Michigan and really all over North America. And we're pleased to bring those to your table. And we market all of our berries wholesale. We don't have any retail outlets like some of our neighbors do, but you can go into just about any of your local grocery stores and find blueberries in there and enjoy them. Like I say, they're very healthy and very tasty. Blueberries are one of those fruits that you don't have to peel or core or pit. You can buy them off the shelf, take them home, and give them a quick rinse and start eating them. So yeah, it's one of the greatest things to be able to be a farmer and be out here in God's wonderful nature and be able to produce something that's healthy and consumers can really enjoy.